Cross's Permanent Radiant EP, let's chat about it. Hey friends, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning. I'm just, kind of rounding off my year. There's a few reviews that I have wrote out that I'm going to be putting out in the next few days to just kind of wrap up 2022. I didn't want these to just go to waste because I put a lot of effort into them. So over the next couple of days, I'm going to be chatting about the final Weezer EP of the year. I'm going to give my thoughts on the new SZA album as well as the surprise album that we got from Little Sims. But for now, I want to chat about this new Crosses EP. This is the sort of dream pop side project of legendary Deftones frontman Chino Moreno. And it has been a while, and I do mean a while, before we heard anything from Crosses. I mean, the last time we heard from them was back in 2014, which is crazy to even think about. They released a series of EPs, which mostly made up their self-titled debut album. And honestly, it's an album that I still have a lot of mixed feelings on. Like, there are some truly fantastic tracks on here, like The Epilogue and Bermuda Locket. The Holy Ghost as well, and at the end of the day, I've always thought the Crosses side project was such a natural progression for Chino and company. Their blend of alternative metal alongside of gothic rock, WitchHouse, dream pop, industrial, and more just seemed right. But at the end of the day, as far as their debut album went, I was kind of let down by the fact that it was just a bunch of their EPs making up this album. I kind of, was a little thrown off by that. It put a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth as well. There was also some filler and some boring moments as well. This album was pretty long, but I do still enjoy a good hunk of it, and I've always kind of been curious on whether Crosses would come out with any more material, which leads me to this new EP. And honestly, the singles leading up to it were really good, so let's chat about this thing. This EP starts off with Sensation, and honestly, it's really cool. The very tense synths that we get here add a sense of urgency that I was just not expecting. I mean, it's a very slow-paced, very tense track, but it also has some really euphoric moments, which leads me to this chorus, which practically sounds shoegaze-inspired. It is glorious. I mean, yeah, it's been a long time since we've heard from Crosses in any aspect, but right now, Chino and company actually sound refocused and really reinvigorated on it. Vivien's really good as well. I've enjoyed it since they dropped it as a single a while back. The tension on this EP is really commendable, and once again we get a very slick, synth-heavy verse that's really intense, that's really broken up nicely by an overwhelmingly glorious chorus. It's just enough to keep tracks like this with you, but at the same time, it is so deeply depressive and dark. I commend on just how visual these lyrics are. You know what? Good on them. Holier is probably the most true to form Crosses track here. It is dreary, it is dismal. God, the droning synths here are so powerful, and Chino's vocals just mesh perfectly with all of it. This to me is a great medium. I love the WitchHouse inspired beat and the wailing guitars in the background. It's simple, but it's really effective. And Procession is a really interesting finale here. While I will get to a major downside of this EP, this is the sort of sunnier, more euphoric sound from Crosses that actually works really well. It's not as dread-inducing, and outside of some key lyrics, Chino actually sounds on his more hopeful side. It's just an overall different sound for the band, bringing in some new influences, and, leading up to this EP, Chino made it very well known that they are going to be dropping a full-length album soon, and this EP was sort of leftovers, but if that's the case, I'm really curious to see where that album leads. They still do, in my book, need to, freshen up their sound a little bit, clean up their act. Like Cadaver Exquise, honestly, it's not for me. This, to me, just sounds like every so-so filler track that was on their original debut album. It's a moodier, sort of Deftones sounding track without the actual grit and teeth to what made Deftones such a great band. The result is just not compelling. And day one, what the hell is this? Why are we getting these warm, sunny rhythms here? This comes off as a complete bullshit. This actually sounds like Imagine Dragons if they were trying to be a little edgier, and that's certainly not good. Yeah, you can quote me on that. The fact that this actually made the cut for this EP is worrying to me about the act's future. But overall, this EP is very solid. The 4 tracks here that are really good are excellent and show them refocused, reinvigorated, repassionized as far as the Crosses name goes, and I'm very curious to see where this, new sound and new sort of focus on crosses leads on their next album. I'm very curious to see where it goes from here. The only thing is, God, those 2 tracks on here that are rough are really, really rough and show just how much work they still need to do. My fingers are crossed, though. Pun intended. Feeling a light 7 on this EP. Let me know what you all think down below. If you like the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, friends.